It's been an active couple of days in the upper Midwest and northern plains, and severe weather continues today with a high wind threat, all out ahead of a cold front. So several clusters of wind reports from North Dakota into Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, and into Illinois, right through the Ohio River Valley over the last 24 hours. And many of these same areas are going to see active weather again later today. The focus for storms is ahead of a cool front. Winds are already blowing out of the northwest across portions of North Dakota and western Minnesota. We had clusters of severe storms earlier in the day, and we're going to see this all refire ahead of that front. Primary threat today is going to be from wind. So we had an enhanced risk of severe storms from eastern Iowa into northern Illinois, right into northwestern Indiana. And in particular, it is the wind threat, a significant severe wind threat potentially, but also some tornadoes, especially with the initial cells as they spin up, could produce some brief tornadoes. But a lot of moisture, dew points well into the 70s, even near 80 degrees for some spots in portions of Iowa, Missouri, and Illinois today. And of course that moisture is key, factoring into instability. We're gonna have lots of CAPE, convective available potential energy from Iowa stretching into Illinois and northwestern Indiana, over 5,000 joules of CAPE. So that is a lot of energy for storms that get going later in the day. And again, there is that initial threat for maybe some tornadoes. In particular, I think Illinois, that's where we have the best crossover winds, with low-level winds coming in from the south and those upper-level winds coming in from the northwest. So that could initially rotate some of those storms. So we'll see those storms fire initially in Iowa and Illinois in the late afternoon, evening hours, and then notice it bowing out into a wind-producing structure as those storms continue. Severe wind gusts look likely from eastern Iowa through the whole northern half of Illinois. Chicago could be affected by these storms, and then into Indiana as well, Indianapolis. So these are all severe wind gusts stretching through that whole area late this afternoon into the evening and the first part of the overnight. Then tomorrow, that focus shifts further east as the front advances. So we're talking about eastern Ohio into Pennsylvania and New York. Again, primarily a wind threat with some of those storms. So slight risk of severe storms. And on the western side of that front, also slight risk here across western Kansas and eastern Colorado for, again, primarily some wind damage in those storms. Not so much of a tornado threat tomorrow. And in the Atlantic, for now at least, things are quiet. No cyclone activity forecast here in the next few days. So that's some good news, at least for the Atlantic.